solar panels arrived, and they seem to be in pretty good shape. I bought them from a place called My Solar Panel Store, or The Solar Panel Store, or something like that. They're out of Colorado. And they did a pretty good job, I think, of packing this up. Let me show you here. Now, as you can see, this came on a semi-truck, and I had to go down to the road way down there and go get it because the truck obviously couldn't get up here. But you can see they put it on a pallet and they strapped it down, and there's 10 of them here, 10 panels, 270 watts a piece, and they even taped that little thing on the top that says, you know, basically, you know, fragile all over it and don't stack nothing on top of this. And apparently they didn't. It looks in pretty good shape. Now, for those of you who might be wondering how much did this cost me, there's, like I said, 10 panels here, 290 watts each, so that's 2,900 watts, just under 3,000 watts. And what did that cost? Well, with the shipping, and I'm about 400 miles away, 300 miles away from the site. So with the shipping included, it was a little bit over $2,000. I think it was $2,032. So if you include the shipping, that comes out to really close to 70 cents per watt. So these solar panel prices have really come down in the last several years. So they're not that expensive to get. Well, expensive is a relative term, I guess. But for what I'm doing, this will pay for itself pretty quick, because $2,000 in heating bills, you know, to try to heat the greenhouse, and I'm going to be heating my home with it too. This will offset that cost probably in about 3 years, something like that, because it's expensive to heat the home with propane where I'm at, and this is going to heat most of it using a system that I'm going to heat hot water with to probably offset using the propane very much at all, or the electric heaters or anything like that. Anyway, so for me, it's cost effective. Okay, I'm out here in the yard, and I have unstrapped this pallet, so I'm going to pull off one of these solar panels, show you how it looks. Let's see here. They did wrap this up really, really well. Let's see if I can, I guess I'll have to lift this up. Boy. There we go. Okay, got one. Carefully slide it off. As you can see here, well, let's see, let's leave the corners on for now. But that's basically what it looks like. Now let me turn it around. So you can see the other side. Now, you see the way these come, let me make sure that you set this up right, so there. It's not going to fall. Okay, now as you can see in the back here, I've got a label here, and it says Canadian Solar 290 watts, and open circuit voltage is 39.3, so that means when there's no load, this thing's putting out nearly 30 volts in the sunshine, or 40 volts in the sunshine. At full load, this thing gets 32 volts. So when this thing is under full load, the voltage drops down to about 32 volts. So if you have 10 of these in a string, that'd be 320 volts that it'll put out when it's under full load. When it's not under full load, it'll be nearly 400 volts. So when you string these things up, you've got to be careful. The voltages are pretty high. Now, current 9.05 amps on the current. So that means that that's all this thing can put out is 9.05 amps, and that's on a good day. So if you get, you know, 10 of these in a row, and you get roughly 9 amps at 30 volts, so there's, you get your 9 times 3, what is that, 27? There's 2,700 watts. You know, with the, what would you call it, the inefficiencies and, you know, things like that, you're probably really going to get 2,700 watts out of this thing. I mean, out of 10 of them, and not really 2,900. Now, on a good day where everything's really sunny and everything's wonderful, yeah, you might get 2,900, but you can really expect 27, and that's enough for our purposes right now. Now, they usually come with these kind of fittings. Let me show you here. I hope you can see these against the black background, but you see what these are. See, there's this one's for the, well, one's for positive and one's for negative. Let's see. Yeah, this one's labeled positive, this one's labeled negative. And what you do is every one of these solar panels has these fittings on them. Now, these are peculiar to solar panel installations. You don't find these kind of fittings on any other kind of home wiring setups. And they're pretty well weatherproof and waterproof, and there's a little O-ring here and so forth. But what you do is, if you pretend now that we have another solar panel over here, then it'll have a set like this, and it'll have another string on this, and what you do is you push these together and snap them in, and that's how they're connected. So what we'll do now is we'll go over and set this up and measure it properly so we can bolt these things down to the solar panel stand that I've got ready. And it's another thing I forgot to mention, but I don't think it's stated on here, but when I bought these, I remember it said they weighed 47 pounds, I think. No, it's not on the tag, but this is nearly 50 pounds. These are not really that light. So here we go. So let's put this up here just for size. And hopefully I've done this right. So there we are. This is about how I'm going to fasten them. As you can see, there's a board here and one here and one up there. That is basically how they're going to be fastened. So it looks like they're going to work. So now let me set this down because I don't want it to fall over. Okay. Okay, now I'm around the back of these solar panels here. And as you can see, there's a nice channel material that they're mounted on. Now you see there's some holes that have already been pre-drilled, but for what I'm doing, I'm not going to use those. Although on second thought, I might. Okay, now these are what I had intended to use, and what I had intended to do was fasten them like that, which means I'll have to drill some holes in the sides of the panel mounting, that steel frame, and then basically tie it down to here like that, say. But looking at this, it kind of makes me think, if I fastened these on the bottom like that, and then just carefully fasten this, that might even be smarter. So, that's what I think I'm going to do. Well, a little bit about how I'm attaching these to the stand here. I've got these self-tapping screws. Let me show you what they look like. Hope that focuses up. But you see they have like a little drill bit on the end. And these are number 10 tapping screws. And they drill right through the metal frame. So what I do is I take one of these, and then I have these little angle things. Now you buy these in the where the dimensional lumber binding things are, like the straps for lumber and things when you're putting together some kind of a lumber structure like a deck or things like that. These are in that section where these metal connectors are. Anyway, they're just perfect, and what I'm doing, you can see I've got one right here already, and I've got another one up here. And what I'm doing is basically screwing these on like that, if you can see that, and then what I'll do is push this up and mount these at just the right height to mount them to the frame here. So that's what that's how I'm doing this. Okay, as you can see, I've got, let's see if the lighting is right. Yeah, you can see I've got one of them there, and I've got another one right there. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the top ones in at the bottom, measuring them carefully. You can see my little pencil mark there, perhaps. But and then lifting these over and then laying them on the frame. Let's go around the front here. So there's one of them up on the frame. And as you can see, that's how they're going to be mounted, just like that. And I think that's going to work fine. That's kind of how it's going to be. Now I'm going to start in the middle and then work my way that way and then work my way this way and try to have like an inch or maybe a half an inch between them. You don't want much space in between them. But that's how I'm going to start mounting them. Okay, I've got one row of these panels up. There's 5 of these. So this is half of the 2,700 watts I'm going to get. What does that work out to be? 1,400? Something like that. This is 1,400 watts on this panel. But let me show you a little bit of close-ups on how these are secured to the frame. Okay, as I mentioned before, I was going to use those little angle brackets, and here they are. These are the tap screws that have little drill bits on the end. And then they're screwed down here, fastened there, and up here. And all of them across are done the same way. Now I've got to saw these little extra pieces off, and I'll do that to make it look nice. And there's the next batch of them, going to go up tomorrow when I have time. And but it's working. Let me show you the front of these. Let's go over here. And you can see they're quite flush, and I think they actually look quite nice. So there's half of them, and we'll do the other half tomorrow.